Hey guys, Electro Ninja here, and welcome back to Electro Ninja's Lab. In today's video, we are going to be talking about Final Fantasy. So, yeah, for those of you guys who don't know, I am a huge fan of Final Fantasy. I have played 7, 9, a little bit of 10, a little bit of 8, a little bit of, I think, 6. I've I I've played 12, I've played 13, I've played 14 is like the one that I play the most right now. And 15. So yeah. Oh, so the thing is that I do not know much about the lore of every single one of these games. I do know a few things though. I know that 7 and 10 are canonically in the same universe, and they're connected. And we also know that 9 has some major connections to some other world. So the question now is, what exactly happened? So there's been theories going around for quite a while that all of these Final Fantasies are in the same universe. They're just like years apart, and I am inclined to agree. They have a lot that we don't necessarily know about. But some things that we do know is that, of course, 7 and 10 are together. But we also have some hints that 15 is connected to 7. That specifically, Yuffie is very likely a previous queen of Insomnia, or whatever. I don't know the exact details, but one of the ancient queens for Final Fantasy 15. So, yeah. Now, recently in Shadowbringers, specifically, specifically right after you come to the new world, there is a few moments where Exarch, or whatever, I don't know how to pronounce his name, Crystal, I'll just call him Crystal. He specifically mentions that there are 13 worlds. Now, this is something big and important. Several of these worlds have been destroyed, which leads me to think that one of those worlds was one of the two worlds in Final Fantasy in Final Fantasy 9. Part of me wants to say that the world that we have gone to is the world of Final Fantasy 9. I do want to say that there are obviously some differences, but it's definitely something to just keep in mind. There's throughout 14, there are several references to almost every single Final Fantasy. We all know that every single Final Fantasy has a Cid. A lot of the Final Fantasies since Star Wars and have had a Biggs and a Wedge. A lot of them have a Gilgamesh, and they all share a few monsters, specifically Cactuar, Chocobos, and things like that. So there's obviously a lot more than just those, the Behemoth, things like that. So, considering the fact that there is a world called the Source, we can, in Final Fantasy XIV, it would actually explain why all of these worlds that got split off from the single one would have these connections to these other worlds and it would allow us to understand that that all of these worlds are branched off from the single world of um, the source. Figuring out exactly which ones they are is definitely a challenge, but it does explain a few things. So we already know that Final Fantasy 7, 10, and 15 are all in one universe. This universe has not been destroyed, and and we also know that this universe is directly connected to it is still around as of the time that we're playing in Final Fantasy XIV, because of the fact that Final Fantasy XIV and 15 are canonically happening around the same time. Since there is some time dilation, it isn't 100% certain, but considering the fact that there has not been a calamity since the events, there's not been a calamity since we have since we went and saw Noctis. I know it was an event, but there hasn't been a calamity in Final Fantasy XIV yet. So we can say with absolute certainty that right now, the 15, 7, and 10 universe is still connected. They are still set in place. They're good. Now, the 9 universe, the two universes that are in 9, one of them has obviously been destroyed. We do not know which one it is that has been, which of the planets was destroyed, which one in the 13 was destroyed, but we can say with absolute certainty that the one where our characters stay for the most part is still around. Obviously, since the events of 9, which if Kuja had been successful, then absolutely that world would have been destroyed. But thanks to our heroes, it wasn't. But it recently had the events of the Warriors of Darkness becoming the Warriors of Light and being the Warriors of Light in their time and causing the calamity that the wave or whatever, the flood, whatever it's called. Now obviously they are that world is still around, and which means that the 9 universe is still around. We therefore can't connect many others. I've said before in theories that perhaps the first 6 could very easily be connected and in the same universe as Final Fantasy 14, or in the same universe as Final Fantasy 9, which I actually believed that the two were actually the same universe due to the fact that there are black mages, and what would have likely have happened is that the VV clones grew up and trained other people to become black mages, and that actually led to the things that happened there in the 14 universe. However, I am actually more certain that anything that has black mages is actually in the Shadowbringers universe. The thing is that there are black mages in this world, and there are every class in 14, in the main world of 14, and it's very likely that some of these dark creatures one of these black mages came from this one universe and got sent into the universe of 14. Now, the other thing is that Gigi, or as his real name is, Vivi, has a very similar story to what Vivi had in 9. He was trained by Master Quan and stuff like that, or his grandfather was Quan. So, yeah. I haven't done every single side quest, so I don't know every single connection that Final Fantasy XIV has to every single other universe. But what's likely the case is that Gigi is actually originally from the universe of the Shadowbringers universe, aka the 9 universe. He got sent through a portal and landed into our world. Now, there have obviously been hundreds of years, and he could have been here for a long time, since he is a mammoth, or the equivalent of a mammoth. So he becomes... So Gigi is probably... since Gigi came here, it's very likely that there were other black mages as well, who also came over, who taught the first few black mages, which therefore means that it could actually be almost any universe could have some connection with these any universe that has black mages could actually be just one of these planets. Basically, what I'm saying is that Vivi's children could have very easily been sent through other universes, trained other black mages, and and any of these worlds could have become what we have now. So that leaves 12 and 13. Those two universes are the big ones. 11 is also a thing, but I want to say that 11 is very likely the same universe as the 14 universe. It's just that it's significantly back in time. Not like so far back that people wouldn't recognize that if people were to get some lore from there, then it would be ridiculous. But the thing is that the way that it works is that there are several races that share connections between the two. So it's very likely that 11 and 14 are in the same universe, and yeah. They just happen to take place at very, very distant times. So, yeah. So, we still need to figure out 8, 12, and 13. So, could these universes still be connected? Abso-frickin-lutely. The thing is, though, that none of these universes have had a significant connection. It's very likely that several of these, of the side games that aren't actually canon, are actually somehow one of the 13. It could be possible that the Dissidia universe is one of the 13, and the World of Final Fantasy is another one. They just all happen to share some lore. We do know that Terra was at least a story in Final Fantasy 15, so that's also possible to be in So that one, which I'm not 100% certain which one that was from, but she could also share the universe with 7, 10, and 15. So there's that. But 12, I'm inclined to say that it's definitely connected. I want to say that part of me wants to say that yes, absolutely, this is they just happen to live in Alamigo, or they are in the same universe. But I also want to say that they're not. I think that their world did get hit by a calamity, and that calamity was the one that happened at the beginning of 14, which means that their world is now destroyed, and that is the reason that we have the Vera now in 14. So the 12 world is gone. No more. Hallelujah. I'm sorry if you like 12, but it's gone. Yes! I'm sorry. But basically what happened, very likely, is that during the calamity, the Vera got sent over into this world, and they landed in the Alamigo area. And basically what happened is that these guys all lived in this new area. All of the Vera started living in this world, and they were kind of hidden. Like, obviously there are Vera elsewhere in the world. It's very likely that there are a whole bunch of Vera over in Garlemald. But the ones that we have seen so far are actually from the 12 universe. When their world was destroyed during the calamity of the calamity at the beginning of 14, some of them got sent over, and it's very likely that a lot of other ones got sent over, and basically wiped their minds and changed their thoughts so that they actually think, oh, yeah, we've lived here for our entire lives, and they have all of this same stuff that has been implanted in their memories, so now they think, oh, yeah, we've lived here for years. Some things aren't consistent, but they have been living here for however long. The last issue, however, is, of course, 8 and 13. I do not want to say that 8 and 13 are in the same universe, mostly because of the fact that I do not have enough data. I've barely played 8, and 13 I have only almost completed the first game. There is a lot of lore that is in these games, and I don't want to say for sure that absolutely this is 100% this is in this universe. But considering the fact that we do have 13 universes now, we can say with at least some certainty that all of these universes are decently connected. Part of me wants to say that 13 is in the 15 universe, mostly due to the fact that that 15 was originally versus 13. So it's very likely that at some point they were the same universe. However, due to the fact that Cocoon and Pulse aren't extremely obvious in the 15 universe, I'm not 100% certain. However, it is actually more likely now that I'm actually taking a moment to think about it, that this could be the case. For those of you guys who don't know, the summons are in 15 are very different than almost every other summon. They are basically gods. There is some connection for some of them, but they live out in the world. They're just and they just can teleport. That's kind of the thing. So basically, what I'm thinking happened is that during the events of at some point during the events of I'm thinking probably around the time of what's his name? Whatever. Basically, when they were setting the story that you can actually look at a little bit for 15 for Titan and all of those guys, he was actually catching Cocoon. Titan was catching Cocoon. We do know that he did catch an asteroid or whatever, but that was Cocoon, and it changed the world. And that would actually mean that I would say 15, that 13 is before 7, then 7 occurred. So probably yeah, I would say that the order isn't 100% clear, but 13, whatever the case is, it happened around the same time as the events of very close to the events of whatever his name is, the main bad guy. I always forget his name. So that is in the same universe, which is kind of funny that a lot of the future ones are all in the same universe. I do want to say, though, that I do not believe that 8 is in this universe. There's no real direct connection to any of these universes. Even in 14, which connects to almost every single one of the others, there's no connection to 8. Like, there's obviously a little bit here and there, but it's not to the same extent. It's basically, oh yeah, here's some clothing that's non-canonical. And there's nothing directly connected. It's very likely that somewhere out in the world there is a equivalent. There is someone who we will see soon that will be very important to the story or whatever. That will reveal, oh yeah, this whole universe, here's 8, this is the 8 universe, but considering the fact that they just made a remake, or a remaster for it, I don't know if they're gonna do anything to directly connect to it. Now, there's one more world that I want to say is connected to this universe. Now, I know that it was an event, but there is a dungeon or whatever. I don't know the exact details, but Nier Automata is one of the 13 universes. Figuring out exactly which one it is obviously a pain in the backside, but Nier Automata is canonically in the same universe, or in the same multiverse, as all of the Final Fantasies. Which is kind of ridiculous considering the fact that the Nier universe doesn't have any creatures, as far as I'm aware, that are from the whole Final Fantasy universe. So I don't know. It's definitely complicated. But is Kingdom Hearts connected? No. The Asians are directly based off of the Kingdom Hearts characters Organization 13. However, they are not the same ones. They are not directly connected. It's possible that they are that their darkness was absorbed by whatever his name is, during the events of Kingdom Hearts 3, and they became the Ascians. And it's basically just the darkness, which would explain why certain characters have certain connections. Certain Ascians have certain connections to certain members of Organization 13. And it actually makes sense, because it could... The thing is that there's no real direct connection between any of the Ascians and all of the characters that we have seen in Kingdom Hearts 3. I don't know. I said before in my Ascians are Organization 13, I said that they are at least based off of the characters that are going to be the new characters in the true Organization 13, which sadly there's not enough information. I'm pretty sure that there is one of them that has a scythe, and there's one that has knives. So, I mean, that would clearly point to those. But the thing is that almost every character that's in there could be connected to a specific character in the new one, or the original Organization 13. So, yeah, it's possible, but I want to say that it's more likely that that it's just a side universe, it's just a side game. Don't try and connect Kingdom Hearts into the universe of 13, because then we have to redo all of this order and stuff, because the thing is that a lot of these Final Fantasy characters are in this universe, and they've gone through a lot of the life that they've gone through certain life events that the characters from these games have gone through. Obviously, Yuffie and the other 7 characters didn't go through their life in 7. Things obviously were different there. And the same goes for... Or they were taken out of their universe around the time that Aerith died. And 8, just connecting that is a pain in the backside. So, yeah, I don't know. If they make an event where they actually connect the universe, then sure, I'll consider putting it into one of the 13. But it's... Now that 14 has actually connected a lot of these, we can actually say with pretty decent certainty that these universes are at least somewhat connected. The Nier and Drakengard, I'm going to start listing off the 13. So first off, we have the Source, which does not directly connect with any of the Final Fantasies. It could connect to one of the first 6, but I'm not going to say that that is absolutely certain. The first, which is the Shadowbringers universe, that is the same universe as 9, possibly one of the 6, and of course 14. That's it. 2, I'm gonna the second, which is uncertain. That one I'm going to say one of the destroyed is the world from 9 that was destroyed at near the end of it. Next up, the next world, we'll call it 3. This is 7, 13, 15, 10, and whichever one Terra is from. So that's 5. So I actually forgot something. The source, or the main one from 14, is also 11. So we'll keep that there. So number 4 is that is another destroyed one. That is the 12 universe. We will then put 5 as 8, and that one has not yet been destroyed. There's no real connection, so I'm just going to say that right now 8 is fine. 6. Maybe one of that one will be Nier Automata. Very likely there was a black mage that came through, and that became Nier Automata, the Nier universe, the Nier and Drakengard, and that's basically it. So yeah, I think that I just said 6. So 7. Let's put that as a possible Dragon Quest. I'm putting the Dragon Quests in there because it's possible that they're connected. I don't have enough information about the Dragon Quest, so I'm not gonna say absolutely this is the same universe. But there is some connections between them, so yeah. Next is 8, the 8th universe. I've already gone through almost every single one. Again, any of the 1 through 6, whatever ones, except for the one that has Terra, those can be almost any universe, period. So, yeah. So, in that one, I would say maybe that would be World of Final Fantasy. Next, then 9. Let's just say it was a destroyed one, doesn't really matter. Maybe that was Dissidia, which would actually be, that would probably be the first Calamity, which distributed all of the characters off to their correct universes. And, like, this is so basically, the Dissidia would be first, and basically, after all of their fighting or whatever, they lost their memories and they became these characters. Mostly I'm saying this because of the fact that there's a lot of characters that are just like, there's no connection here. They're just like adults, and we don't know much about their backstory. It's very likely that they lost their memories, returned to kids or something, and then grew up in these universes. I'm saying that's why I'm saying that that's the first Calamity and then separated. 10. Did I say World of Final Fantasy? Whatever. Let's go with that one. 11. We'll put that as possibly Kingdom Hearts. Maybe it's destroyed. But that's another thing. I do want to say though that The World Ends With You is. I will say this with 100% certainty that the world of the Kingdom Hearts and The World Ends With You are the same universe. The characters just so happened to in their first mission they or maybe a later mission, like they post The World Ends With You, they have to get sucked into a new world, and that's the events that happen in Kingdom Hearts. So World Ends With You and Kingdom Hearts are in the same universe, period. So that is 11, and 12 is just some random universe, probably verse 16. And yeah, a lot of these other universes could connect, but I don't want to say for certainty which ones the first 6 go to because I don't know enough. But like I said, Terra, whatever one Terra is from, that goes to the 15, and the rest can go wherever the hell you want them to, because I don't know enough about them. But anyways, guys, let me know down in the comments what you guys think of this huge, long theory. Holy shite, how long have I been going for? yeah. If you guys liked it, like this theory, please leave a like. Subscribe if you want to see more theories like this. I'm gonna try and make sure that any future theories are shorter, but yeah. I might do this theory again with more information, but yeah. Anyways, guys, I hope you guys have enjoyed this. Please leave a like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell because that all helps me out. I have been Electro Ninja, and I will see you guys in the next video. But on!